I can't wait for it to be a Thanksgiving because I got out of work early, but I am so freaking exhausted. Good news is I only have 2.5 days of work, but let's get into our next episode, and believe it or not, this next episode is going to do a couple things different. First of all, it's going to pick up the plot line from the season premiere, and the second thing, the thing that I don't think this show has done before, but it's an episode that focuses on the villains. Let's just get into it. This is Frenemies. So our episode begins in the Castle Grayskull Legion of Doom as Grogar is trying to focus on his task and his plan, but pretty much the other villains, Cozy Glow, Tierk, and Chrysalis, are kind of bugging him and constantly arguing with not only Grogar, but also with each other.
Attacking any pony anytime soon. If not, I don't know why I'm wasting my time here. I am a queen, you know.
I am right. Since it's impossible to accomplish the work I need to do here, I suggest the three of you come to some kind of accord.
I really like because he realizes how dysfunctional they are, that they constantly fight and bicker, and he's just not in the mood of just not hearing it. He literally just uses his magic to literally shut their mouths. It's pretty much proven that Grogar is basically not taking shit from anybody right now, and it just really is just amazing to do.
I don't care how, but you must learn to work together. Only then can we accomplish what you so greatly desire, the defeat of Twilight Sparkle and her friends.
Yeah, and considering how these guys are really dysfunctional, that they literally constantly argue and bicker and nitpick about every single little thing that they do, it pretty much means you got a lot of work ahead of yourself. I'm just kind of saying it. Now, I do want to say something before we continue with the episode, and it's not a strike against this episode, but there's a major disappointment I will give at this episode, and it regards to the theme song. Not because, well, obviously I've gotten used to the show's theme for about 9 seasons now, but the issue that I have with it is that because this is the final season, and this episode mainly focuses on the villains, why couldn't they just make an opening that focuses on just the villains? Have a more twisted, evil version of the opening. Probably one example I can think of is the episode in Teen Titans in Lightspeed where it plays the opening theme, the Teen Titans theme, and then the high five of Jinx, Gizmo, Mammoth, Kid Wicked, Billy Numerous, and Seymour basically take over the final part where they say that the Hive 5 were taking over. I wish they would have done something like that. Hell, from what I've heard from the Cartoon Heroes review, My Hero Academia basically did the same thing for the manga when there was an arc that mainly focuses on the League of Villains. But the show doesn't really do that. It just sticks to the normal theme, and honestly, it's really kind of a huge letdown that they don't really go all out on it. It doesn't really hinder the episode, but it is one big missed opportunity. After the theme, Cozy Glow, basically under her assumption that Grogar put her in charge, tries to basically get Chrysalis and Tierk to work together.
Grogar sees this, he'll realize there's no way he could survive without me.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I said at the premiere, and kind of what I ranted about near the end of frickin' School Raid. But, like I said, we still know next to nothing about Cozy Glow. Now, I know some reviewers have made the argument that less is more, and while that can be a good thing, given how Cozy Glow was a twist villain that came into the tail end of the season, and this is the last season of the show, I would kind of like to know her gist. Like I said, I understand that, less is more, and there are villains that don't really have deep, complex backstories that I just find cool and awesome, so it can work, but it would be nice to know. So anyways, we then see Cozy basically harassing Tierk, who basically is working out because he's basically now lost a lot of things and now has to work for somebody who's stronger than him and is basically working out under a portrait of his stronger self back in Twilight's kingdom. And Cozy decides to annoy him.
It Anywho, Grogar wants us all to work together, so I scheduled a team meeting. Doesn't that sound fun? And since Grogar left me in charge...
For the record, he didn't. I think Cozy really is just kind of under this assumption that she has this need for attention, that she has to be in charge of everything. And I think Tierk probably would have just wanted to just drop the weights on her right then and there, but I think he just says this.
No, you didn't.
Simpson was a real grumpy to her today. If we aren't meeting, I guess I could just stay and offer positive and inspiring.
I think obviously he did this considering that I'm assuming that because Tierk was locked into Tartarus with Cozy for I'm assuming a few months, probably listening to her advice would obviously drive anyone crazy. So then, and Cozy then goes to see Chrysalis, basically continuously being on the deep end as she continues to talk to a stick.
All of this rage. I could lash out at any moment.
And how are you doing this fight?
How do you think I'm doing? I'm ready to exact my revenge.
Yeah, considering that Chrysalis kind of hastily threw her last plan together and didn't think a lot of things through, I think it kind of shows how far off the deep end she is and kind of why Grogar kind of needs her to, like, chill out. Because Chrysalis is so hasty on wanting to get her revenge that she basically wants to get her revenge without a plan or any backup to speak of. So it really kind of goes to show how far the deep end she is, considering how calculating she was into where and back again. And so eventually, Chrysalis does give in to Cozy's demands, as Cozy basically brings both Chrysalis and Tierk, where, say it with me now, they continue to whine and bicker with each other.
We need to trust each other.
If we are to trust one another, perhaps inform Lord T-Rex to stop trying to absorb my essence.
Please, I wasn't doing anything of the sort. How dare you?
How dare I? Do you know to whom you are speaking?
I'm kind of wondering, was that stuff that Tierk even put on this cupcake? I know it's supposed to be magic, but it kind of looks like lava to me.
Could I not tell your log every 5 minutes?
This is why Grogar left me in charge.
No, he didn't!
And considering that these are two villains that are not only stronger and more powerful than you, he kind of has a point. Alright, regrettably I do have to mute this, but this leads into our next song of the season, and believe it or not, the second and only villain song of the show, Better Way to Be Bad. Needless to say, it's catchy as hell. Honestly, it has been so long since we have seen a villain song in the show. Honestly, not since Aria Day from A Canterlot Wedding all the way back in Season 2 have we had a villain song. This song basically gives a combination of Cell Block Tango from Chicago and The Nightmare Before Christmas Kidnap the Santa Claus, where it's basically the three villains singing. And like I said, much like Philistine from No More Heroes 2, the song is catchy as hell. Now, as much as I do enjoy the song, I do have one gripe with it, and that's Tierk. Not because he's bad at it or anything, not the evil sort of sense, but his singing voice. I mean, his regular voice works fine as he's speaking, but the singing seems really off-key. And when you compare it to Cozy's and Chrysalis' singing, it is very inspiring and honestly very majestical for them. Honestly, given how this is an enjoyable villain song, because like I said, it has been so long since we've had an enjoyable villain song, and honestly, back in 2020 on my Instagram, I did my top 15 villain songs in all of media, and as much as I honestly actually forgot about this song, mostly because it got completely overshadowed by the Open Up Your Eyes song by Tempest Shadow from the movie, because I found it to be more dynamic and bombastic, but a lot more show don't tell. And considering that, well, Tempest was more of a reformed villain, I would technically put this song on the list, but I'd probably put it much lower. But I probably put this at like a number 16, probably. And in case anybody is wondering, I'll probably put the list in the description if anybody wants to know, or go see my Instagram, except 2 of my entries basically got claimed for copyright reason. And I didn't want to have to put up with that because I have a history with copyright because, well, I just can't seem to do what I want. And essentially, even despite the very enjoyable song and the very Tango-esque movement, the villains then proceed to basically argue and bicker once again, and then Grogar basically finally decides to put them in their place yet again.
I hope by now you would have resolved your differences, but apparently not.
Perhaps if we knew what the plan was, we would be better able to prepare.
Assuming you even have a plan. Of course I have a plan. I have located an object of power, and it occurs to me this is the perfect test. The 3 of you will work together to retrieve it. Against this item, those ponies won't stand a chance.
Yeah, he's very intimidating. So basically the villains decide to argue and say they want to go in alone, but like I said, Grogar is basically having none of it, and that he insists that the 3 villains have to work together because it's going to be impossible, and he basically holds them back with only a fraction of his magic.
Each of you failed to defeat Twilight Sparkle and her friends.
Some of them twice, by the way. Poor Chrysalis.
My power is greater than all of yours combined. This is but a fraction of it. Understood?
Okay.
So as he finally gets them to calm down after they were basically bickering over their successes and then soon failures, Grogar basically then gives the backstory to the villains of what they have to go after and what they have to work together on. And this pretty cool looking transition using his magic.
Thousands of moons ago, a self-righteous Gusty the Great, unable to best me face to face, stole my bewitching bell. Talisman containing much of my own magic. The bell cannot be destroyed, so Gusty hid it in a place it has taken me millennia to discover. An enchanted cave high atop Mount Everhoof, protected by magical winds that prevent any pony from reaching its peak. There the bell has remained until now.
Now, first of all, that backstory, I really love the paper-like animation. It is definitely very awe-inspiring to watch, as it's something that the show hasn't really done that often. The second thing, the Bewitching Bell, that is a powerful item in Mount Everhoof. Obviously a play on Mount Everest, given that Mount Everest is basically the highest mountain in the world, so it definitely makes sense. And given how difficult he makes it sound, obviously Grogar has to make the villains work together on this mission. They have to go together, and at first Chrysalis thinks they can actually pull it off, but then they go to Mount Everhoof itself and see that it is a giant mountain to scale.
Well, it sounded easy.
Yeah, if it was easy, Chrysalis, do you really think that he would just gift wrap it to you then? So the 3 then continue to once again bicker and argue as Chrysalis and Cozy decide to go at it alone, and Tierk, actually being more wiser, basically takes his time, as Chrysalis basically tries to fly herself up there, but as Grogar said earlier, the winds are so powerful, it's too difficult for her to fly up, so she has to hoof it. And I really love this scene where basically she goes through the dark, creepy forest and something tries to follow her, but then she basically tries to scare the eyes.
As if anything on this mountain is scarier than I.
Yeah. And like I said, we then cut to Tierk, who basically is more taking his time and really not putting an effort because he realizes it's going to be an impossible mission for him to go up on his own, whereas Cozy and Chrysalis were willing to just jump right in to think that they can do it on their own. And that's why I think Tierk is still strong, because even though he can be more whining in these later episodes, in this season at least, like I said, he's working under somebody who's more powerful than him, and it's a notch down to his ego. He's working smarter, not harder. We then see Cozy basically go up to try to do her best at manipulation to basically help get this Monty Python pony to basically help her out.
Halt! Who goes there? A pony? There ain't been ponies around here, and I don't know how many moves.
So it kind of makes you wondering how long he's been living there. I mean, he's basically wearing a bucket for a helmet. Is he supposed to be a knight from like the Monty Python sketch or something? So, anyways, like I said, Cozy tries to do what she is known for and basically put on her cute facade at manipulation.
I'm just a poor lost pony looking for help.
Oh, don't fret, little Billy. Oh, Rusty Bucket here, at your service.
Oh, so his name is Rusty Bucket, so that whole thing was intentional.
I'm so glad I found you. I need help getting to the top of the mountain.
No can do, ma'am.
Why not?
Jesus. Okay, I will also give Cozy Glow this in this episode. She's basically, I think it's safe to assume, I think it's like the voice of reason had pointed out in his review of this episode, where I think everybody is now aware of Cozy's intentions. Her facade is starting to crack. The same cute, innocent act that she puts on, it's basically not working anymore. And that her cute facade is now starting to crack, where she can't manipulate anyone as easily, and now is more prone to anger.
Not so loud. This here's avalanche territory. I'm the guardian of this here mountain. It's my job to keep ponies from heading up.
Well, you've been doing a bang-up job considering that nobody in Equestria has went up into this mountain before. And who put you in charge of the mountain?
Nothing at the top but dangerous snow, dangerous ice, and dangerous wind. Basically, it's dangerous.
You must get lonely all by yourself. Maybe I could be your friend?
Oh, I'd love a friend.
So now that we are friends, you could help me up the mountain.
A real friend wouldn't ask me to do something I'm not supposed to do.
Probably I should have learned that lesson like a million times, given how every time I think I get in a relationship, they constantly ask me for money. I probably should have learned that multiple times. And I have, but it's just annoying when I come across it.
Says so right here in the Journal of Friendship, written by Twilight Sparkle and her friends.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and like I said before, now that every pony knows about her facade, Cozy's now more prone to getting angry when something doesn't go her way.
I didn't want to be friends anyway.
Come on, let's be real here. We know that Rusty Bucket was basically just thinking like,
Not today, Satan. Not today, Satan.
yeah, I think he probably would like that. So even though with Chrysalis' changing ability, she is able to get further up the mountain, and like I said, Tierk continues to work smarter, not harder, and actually make himself a very good survivor, as he basically is able to get everything that he needs, and Cozy Glow tries to go at Rusty Buckets yet again.
No, not that way neither.
It's really, like I said, he's trying to put on this facade, but he's not letting Satan through. And besides, what are you going to do, Cozy? Start the Muppet Show?
Now, just calm down there, Philly.
You calm down! Ponies are supposed to do what I ask them to do! It's like my thing, okay?
Like I said, she knows that there's no point now, so basically this episode knows that she's now completely given into her true self. And the ponies are supposed to, what are you going to ask them to do, Cozy? Start the Muppet Show? And then a snowball basically then kicks her to the curb. So Chrysalis is able to get to the top, but unfortunately, because the winds are so strong, she's unable to reach. And Tierk, meanwhile, is setting up a fire as Cozy basically returns.
It's not funny, T-Rex.
didn't make it to the top. Surprise, surprise.
You didn't make it to the top either.
I didn't try to.
What?
It took about 5 minutes to deduce that Grogar was right. None of us could make it up alone. So rather than subject myself to the elements, I decided to let you two face the danger. Take what you learned and use it to my advantage.
Like I said, smarter, not harder.
I put up with your I'm smarter than you attitude Tartarus, but I'm over it.
I had enough of you trying to manipulate me with that insincere syrupy sweetness. At least now we can see the real you.
Yeah. Tierk pretty much said it best. I've already explained a couple of times now. Now that everybody knows her facade, she's basically more prone to now showing her true self, and any chances of her trying to put up any manipulation has basically cracked at this point.
This is not the real me. I'm cute and lovable.
I'd say Satan's child more than cute and adorable. Plus, I think Kana Kobayashi can actually rival you in the cute and adorable department. So while Cozy and Tierk continue to bicker, they come across this minotaur snake thing that tries to attack him, but Chrysalis ends up stealing their love to basically give her more strength.
I haven't eaten this well in ages.
So gross.
Just so we're clear, I didn't save you because I like you. I did it because I
Need us?
yes.
Clearly, I was right to wait. Now tell me everything you learned today. Leave nothing out.
So I'm assuming that because they basically, told them everything, the three villains actually start to bond when Cozy asked Chrysalis why she cocooned up the frickin' Minotaur snake thing, similar to what she did with the main six and everybody she captured and swearing back again.
The next day.
You cocoon all of your meals?
Of course.
So when you pony nap Twilight and the others, you cocooned them?
Yes. Until that foul starlight glimmer freed them, corrupted my subjects, and stole my hides.
Those ponies have weaknesses. I used that turncoat Discord, tricked him into helping me capture his so-called friend.
Discord was really something until friendship ruined him.
You should have seen Twilight's face when her friends appeared in bubbles around me. She was all...
Not that I'm disagreeing with you on that, Tierk, but she kind of handled it more together more so. But then you kind of pissed her off when you destroyed the Golden Oak Library.
She's so stressed out all the time.
When I posed as her former bowl sitter, I thought she was going to implode.
I wish I could have seen her face when I nearly erased all the magic from Equestria.
Well, I think you kind of did when you kind of released your quote-unquote motives, and even then she didn't seem to get it. But I guess the initial reaction counts.
Oh, magic was a little excessive, don't you think?
I think so. Besides, it would have been worth it just to see Twilight and her friends bow down to me.
For what? You said you wanted to be the Empress of Friendship, and what kind of title is that? You wanted to take over the school.
Indeed, it would.
But essentially, it's these conversations and bonding that actually allowed the villains to work together, as essentially they all help each other as we get a montage of the three villains helping each other out as they're able to get to the top of the mountain.
Can you absorb it and make it go away?
I can only absorb magic from living beings.
So, I really like that this episode does give a nice tidbit of Tierk's power. Is that while and I'm pretty sure it was discussed in Twilight's Kingdom, but basically for a recap, while Tierk can absorb magic, he can only absorb magic from living things. And since there is a giant powerful force field, it's something that he can't absorb. So, Cozy basically suggests that the only thing that they can do is to make Tierk stronger, but in order to do that, he has to take the magic from Chrysalis.
Leave me.
Would we do that to you? Then he gives it back.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know you won't take my magic and leave me?
Would we do that to you?
I really like how when Cozy asked that question, Chrysalis is just like, we're all villains that almost tried to rule a question. What do you think the answer is?
Okay, normally, yes, we would.
I'll give you your magic back.
Do it.
So begrudgingly, Chrysalis gives Tierk her magic, and he basically becomes this awesome, badass Minotaur form. But even then, it's barely enough to keep the force field open. But Cozy is able to go in and get out to get at the bewitching bell.
My magic.
I really do like that scene because Tierk obviously wanted to be his most powerful self, him at 100%. But he realized the position that he's in right now, he knows that in order to get his revenge and get his strength back, he has to work with the two ponies that he has now, so he reluctantly gives Chrysalis back his magic. And at first, the three of them do bond over the fact of how closer they've become, but then Chrysalis quickly snaps out of it.
The magic of friendship is like a disease, an infection that spreads to those around you. I watched it infect my hive. I will not let it get me.
Yeah, so I really like how even when it seems like them bonding, it seems like friendship is about to take hold, Chrysalis is immediately able to snap out of it and basically, in their minds, see how bewitching friendship is in their minds, and basically show that those three able to easily snap out of it are the three that are just not going to reform. And then Chrysalis then decides to get Tierk and Cozy in on the plan to, well, let's see how she puts it.
Grogar's
But Grogar said we have to work together.
Grogar is too powerful. Something must be done about that. Let Grogar think we're his loyal servants. In the meantime, we'll hatch our own plan.
Ooh, I love a good backstabbing.
After that, we can go back to trying to destroy each other.
In the mean?
Like I said, this is kind of like the temporary alliance thing that Thrax did with the villains at Operation Overdrive and Once a Ranger, where basically the villains are making a temporary alliance that'll vaporize each other. Like I said, still better than Once a Ranger. So back at the Legion of Doom, Grogar then chastises basically the three for their quote-unquote failure, but we know the trend as they basically are tricking him.
We work together as you asked.
We just aren't as powerful as you.
Obviously. We should finally did as you were told and work together.
Of course.
Whatever you command.
Forget about that old bell. You were right. We're so much more powerful when we work as a team.
God, that is such an eerie ending. I would like to believe that Grogar isn't frustrated, considering that he has the crystal ball that sees everything, given how he was able to show them the defeat of Sombron in the beginning of the end. I would like to believe that he basically saw everything that went down and basically just put on the facade, hearing that they failed when all actually they did. Is that potentially he's playing ahead, given how that ending shot showed that with now the bewitching bell hidden from him, basically the other three villains are ready to start a coup. And that was Frenemies, and I had a lot of fun with this one. This was definitely an interesting episode. Not only is it continuing the final overarching story, but it's very interesting just to see an episode that mainly focuses on the villains. And it really goes to show how far these three have fallen down and how individually they all struggle. Where Cozy's manipulation is so well known that her cute, innocent facade is now cracking. And as Tierk pointed out in the episode, every pony is now aware of it and it's basically pointless. Chrysalis basically wants to charge in without any sort of plan whatsoever, without trying to think anything through. Tierk, meanwhile, can't get his strong physique back in Twilight's Kingdom, but when the three are able to work together, they're truly definitely a force to be reckoned with. And on top of that, the fact that they're willing to use the bewitching bell to basically start a coup really makes it a lot more enjoyable and makes me more hype on what the villains will actually do. Plus, this episode did give me a lot of good chuckles, mainly from Cozy Glow, and like I said, proving that now that every pony is aware of her basically cute, fake facade, it's no longer going to work, and seeing her try and fail just gives me so much joy. And I do like how the villains really do bond in this episode, and then quickly just snap out of it, not wanting to let the friendship take over. It really makes me excited. It's a very interesting episode, but it's not perfect. Obviously, like I said, some of the things I would wish that it would do with that, essentially, it would kind of give us a little bit more deeper backstory into Cozy Glow, and I really would like to see, like, what her true ultimate motive was of wanting to be evil in the first place. And I also do think that maybe it does kind of slow down a bit in terms of the pacing when the villains do constantly bicker and argue, but it's basically three egomaniacs basically trying to work together. It's not a strike against the episode, it's an interesting idea, but I think also with the missed potential of not using a twisted version of the main theme, and while Better to Be Bad is probably the best song of the season so far, and given it's probably one of the great villain songs I haven't heard in a while, it's still, Tierk's voice still kind of makes it iffy, because it seems off-putting at times when you compare it to Cozy and Chrysalis' singing. But other than that, this was a very interesting episode that I definitely enjoyed. It was just a lot of fun. So overall, I think the episode for me, I think is about an A. So yeah, an A for Frenemies. Alright, so next time we will be looking at Sweet and Smoky. Season 9, you were doing so well. See you guys next time. Bye.